So if you have your Bibles, I want to invite you to turn with me to Luke chapter 19. Luke chapter 19 is where we're going to be, and it has a lot to say about neighboring. It has a lot to say about neighboring. So here we go. Luke chapter 19, verse 1 says this: Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through it. Now, for those of you who are already having questions about how can I be a good neighbor, I don't even live in a neighborhood. I live in an apartment, or I'm a traveling nurse, or I'm going through places. I'm just passing through. How really intentional should we be? I would say Jesus is giving us a phenomenal example of being a good neighbor as he's passing through. Right? So maybe your living situation is temporary. Maybe you're not going to be putting down roots in Rutland, Vermont for many decades to come. That's okay. Jesus, as he was passing through Jericho, it's not his town, he's passing through, and he's giving us an incredible example of what it means to be a good neighbor. Some of the suggestions we're going to have today, this is practical advice we're going to be giving today. Some of them include inviting people over to your home. Jesus, though, doesn't have a home. We follow a Savior who does not have a house. Throughout his entire 3-year ministry, there's no evidence of Jesus living in a spot, like having an address. He is at the mercy of other people's hospitality the entire time. So maybe it's temporary, maybe it's transition, maybe you're not planning on staying long. That doesn't matter. You can still be a great neighbor wherever you are, okay? So as he entered Jericho, he was passing through it. Verse 2, a man was there named Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector, and he was very rich. Now, we've talked about tax collectors over the years, and tax collectors, the only way they made money was to take advantage of people. Okay, they would always take extra off the top. So tax collectors were traders who were very wealthy, and Zacchaeus is one of them as well. What's interesting is that they named this tax collector, and the name Zacchaeus, it's a fascinating meaning. It means pure, clean, innocent. That's his name. Jesus calls him by his name, and his name is Zacchaeus, and it means pure, clean, innocent. I don't think he was operating by that name in business. Like, that's kind of it's like an oxymoron. But Jesus knows his name, and he calls it out. Okay, so reading on here, verse 3. He was trying to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd, he could not, because he was short in stature. So he ran ahead, and he climbed a sycamore tree to see him, because he was going to pass that way. When Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. He's inviting himself over to his house, okay? Yeah, it's pretty neighborly. Hey, I'm coming over. Hey, you got to get down from the tree because I'm actually heading to your house. So he hurried down and was happy to welcome him. All who saw it began to grumble and said, he is gone to be the guest of one who is a sinner. Okay, so let's go. There's this invitation of Jesus saying, hey, come down from the tree. I'm coming to your house today. It's a very loaded idea. It's a very loaded statement. In the first century, hospitality was everything, okay? It is an incredible opportunity to learn who someone is and to help someone else experience who you are. Hospitality was a huge part of their culture, and it used to be a huge part of our culture as well. I don't know what happened to the United States of America. I don't know what happened to Vermont. I don't know what happened here in Rutland. But there used to be, even in the design of our houses, we had front porches, and people would sit outside on the front porch, and as people would pass by, community would happen. Neighboring would happen. People would know each other. And then something happened after World War II. We redesigned our houses to have garages attached to the house, and the car just goes right on in, and then and then the privacy fences went up. The front porches got replaced by back decks, and we are more isolated than we've ever been before. When you're out walking, I don't know if you see other people doing this, but they're doing this. They're not enjoying the community. It's really hard. Go ahead and do this with me. Put your hand up like you're on your phone. Just put your hand up like this. How can you possibly interact with this world with this posture? How could you possibly do it? Oh, I'm so connected now. No, you're not. You have a blind spot the size of your phone, interrupting community where you live and work and play. There are so many amazing stories that make up a person's life. And legend has it that when you're on your deathbed, your life flashes before your eyes. I'm really worried about an upcoming generation whose life that's flashing before their eyes is only going to be news articles and Netflix documentaries and murder mysteries. Because that's all we're doing. It's like there's a blind spot in our hand. All I'm saying is community is something we've lost. And the suggestions I'm going to be sharing with you today are just to start the conversation. But they could be very revolutionary in this culture that's grown more and more isolated and fragmented. Okay? This could be revolutionary ideas, even though they're so simple, simply because they're in a culture that's doing the opposite of these things. So I want to just break down exactly what Jesus is doing with this invitation, and we're just going to give you practical advice on what it means to be a good neighbor. So this is what neighboring can look like for you, okay? First thing Jesus did, he saw him. He saw Zacchaeus up in the sycamore tree. He saw him. He saw him. So if you want to be a good neighbor, the first thing you need to learn how to do is you need to learn how to see people. You need to learn how to see people. No judgment, just seeing people, okay? So here's a couple of ways we can see some people, okay? First suggestion, take a walk around your neighborhood at the same time each week. Just being consistent in that one thing. It's healthy. It's good for you. It's a good thing to do. Just walk around the neighborhood. You got dogs? Walk the dogs around the neighborhood. It's a wonderful practice, and it's just simply walking with intention. Walk around the proximity of your home. If you live in an apartment complex, walk the halls of the apartment complex. If you live in a neighborhood, walk the streets around your neighborhood. Be very intentional. There's two names that come to mind when I'm thinking about this. Their name is Tad and Amy. Okay, Tad and Amy. And their names hit me this morning, and I haven't thought about them in a while. But we met them when we first got married. So this is almost 20 years ago. We're walking, my wife and I, Lindsay, we're walking the neighborhood. And Tad and Amy happened to be out front. They had a pug dog in the yard, and we had two pugs. And they're like, pugs. And we're like, pugs. Well, it's a club, okay? It's a pug club. And we got to talking with them, and the sun was shining just right. You know, those moments where you just have an awesome conversation and you lose track of time. And we learned their names, and they learned ours. It's Tad and Amy. Tad and Amy. I can't tell you how many times over the years we prayed for Tad and Amy. That's the only time we've ever talked with Tad and Amy. But I haven't forgotten their names, and we haven't stopped praying for them. And it was 20 years ago in Greencastle, Indiana. So Tad and Amy, if you're watching online, just know you've been prayed for, and we're thankful for that conversation. Go Pugs, you know? But take a walk around your neighborhood prayerfully, intentionally, consistently, and see what happens. He saw him. Here's another thing. Learn which houses are occupied by singles, widows, young families, or elderly neighbors. Just take note as you walk on the same path, just who's living where, who's doing what. I think that's a good practice to do. I have a friend who has done this thing with his wife consistently every year for about 20 years. He was telling me about it. Great guy. He started a club called the Widows and Orphans Group, okay? And he invited them over the course of the years, and they celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas and different things together. And the whole neighborhood kind of comes over for this thing. And he recently lost his spouse. She passed away, and he's now a widower. And guess who showed up? The Widows and Orphans Group. Because that's how community can be formed. So take note of the neighborhood God has placed you in this time, in this place. in history, okay? Next one, put your phone away when you're outside. Those of you watching this on the phone, it's okay to just take the phone and put it down. You don't, just listen to me. You don't need to look at me. Take it down, put it down. Learn the practice. Take an hour a day to not be on the phone, just please. And when you're outside, make outside a phone-free zone, okay? When you're on your walk, put your phone away. Make eye contact with people. Look up. It's okay, okay? And then another thing, he saw him. Notice practical needs. So when you're walking around, this is a struggling lawn, a broken mailbox, someone carrying stuff. A lot of people are going to stop by my house because they notice the lawn. Just kidding. Notice practical needs. If there are needs that can be met and you can meet them, go for it. Okay? Also, keep a simple list of your 5 closest neighbors in proximity to you. So if you're in an apartment building, who are the closest doors next to your door? If you're in a neighborhood, who are the closest 5 houses? And then pray for them daily. That's a huge anchor of what we do. If you're a part of Neighborhood Church, that's what we're asking all of the people who are a part of this church family. Pray for the people, the closest 5 people to your house. Pray for them daily. Okay, so Jesus saw him. And the next thing he did, he called him by name. I don't know how he knew Zacchaeus' name. He's got powers I don't have. Maybe Zacchaeus' name preceded him. Maybe he had a reputation. Maybe he's famous. Maybe he's infamous. I don't know. I just know that Jesus looked in his heart and called him by name from the tree. So we got to learn some names. If we're going to neighbor well, we got to learn our names. So introduce yourself to one neighbor this week. That's homework, okay? One neighbor, one new neighbor. Introduce yourself to one neighbor. So we got to learn their names. My wife has a reputation for learning names really well. Like, she's so good with names. She just knows so many names. What's her secret? Her secret about how she's so good with names is that she's actually not that good with names. But here's what she does. After she meets people, sometimes she'll take an index card, write their name down, and then write some things about the conversation, and she'll pray over it and pray over it and pray over it. And then the next time she sees them, she remembers their name. And people think she's just got a knack for names. No, she's very intentional about the people she meets, and she's learning things about people that she can continue the conversation with them the next time she meets them. It's not a trick. It's not a gimmick. She just knows that when you know someone's name and when someone calls you by name, there's just a special connection that can be. A name is an invitation to know someone, and it's a sign of respect for them as a human being to know their name. You're giving them dignity and worth. Okay, so learn the names. Learn the names of the kids and the pets as well. That goes a really long way. Why? Because it's interesting. They have kids. That's awesome. They have pets. That's amazing. Let's learn their names too. Okay, so use their names whenever you greet people. So here's an example. Good morning, Tad and Amy. Long time no see. It's been 20 years? Yeah. Yeah. So learn their names. That's a very important skill to learn. We're not all good at it. I'm not that good at it. But I've been inspired by people around me to learn people's names. I think it's important. Okay. A great way to remember names, pray for people. Okay. If you're creating a neighborhood prayer list, just between you and the Lord, when you're praying for someone, you remember their name. And so organize your neighborhood by the people you're praying for. That's a good way to do it. Okay. So he called Zacchaeus by name. And thirdly, he entered his home. I think this is very interesting. If Jesus had a house, he would have invited Zacchaeus over to his house. I know that would have happened. But what's amazing is he invited himself over to his house. And I think it's a wonderful thing. So if you don't have a house, you're not off the hook. If you don't have a house, invite yourself over to other people's houses. So here's a couple things you can do when you enter someone's home. Accept an invitation. If someone invites you inside their home, It's a very special privilege. It's an honor to be a part of it. So bring soup, cookies, a meal during a difficult season. That's something people do. By the way, these suggestions, I've seen you all do them already. So that's kind of how I got you dead to rights. I know you can do them. I know. People have come to my house and brought things. People have helped me out at my house a lot. People have invited me over to their house a lot over the years. Maybe because it's a ministry thing, maybe it's a church thing. People have invited me to lunch. I know you know how to do this. Now I'm asking you to stop doing it for me and start doing it for those who live around you. That's going to be a big leap, okay? Man, this is an incredible church. It's an incredible group of people. You bring things, you bake things, you invite people, you hang out together, you laugh together, you celebrate together, and you know how to do these things. Now the big thing, move that to your neighborhood and watch what God can do in your town. Watch what can happen on your street. Watch what can happen in your building. So, another thing. Offer to help with a household project. People do that with me too. You got a busted sink, Braden? I'll help you fix the sink. You got a busted door, Braden? I'll help you fix the door. That's awesome. You got a busted lawn, Braden? Yeah, everyone can see that. I want to help. And there's others just like me in your neighborhood, and you can help them as well. So this is all part of it. Invite people to your table. It's a sacred space. It's for family, right? Invite people to your table. Not your project. They're not your project. They're your neighbors. So don't do it to impress them. It's not going to be perfect, but just have someone over. Have someone over. There's this guy in my neighborhood several years ago. He's just sitting in his garage listening to a sports game, and I'm walking by, and he goes, "Hey, sometime you want to just come by the garage, we'll just listen to the game together." Yes, let's do that. It's a great idea. Okay, so also let them see real life. That's an invitation as well. Don't wait till your house is perfect to have someone over, because why? Christianity is kind of a come as you are kind of a thing. Okay, and neighboring is important. Okay, it's an important thing to do. Okay, so he entered his home. Make room for their story is another thing we can do. All right? When they're over at the table, ask them about what they're doing, what they're excited about. What are they excited about? What are they nervous about? What are some things that they want to share? I've done this before with the flashlight. When it comes to spotlights, sometimes we want to be in the spotlight, but I want you instead to reframe that as, no, I'm not in the spotlight, I am the spotlight. And I want to hear about people's interests and their days and their stories. That makes life so much more interesting. Okay, so he entered his home. Include people in ordinary life. That's another thing. Okay, belonging, I found over the years, happens in the mundane. So just invite and include. They're not going to accept every invitation. That's okay. But it's important to always keep looking, keep praying, keep being intentional, be a good neighbor. Okay, so that changed so many things, right? This is the last one. Zacchaeus was an outcast. He was an outsider. And sometimes there are outsiders in our neighborhoods as well, people going through a hard time, people going through it. It would be incredible if you made your home, your corner of Rutland County, Vermont, into a place of refuge, a sanctuary for your neighborhood. So think about it like that. Your home can be a sanctuary for your family, a safe place for your family, a safe place for your friends, and a safe place for your neighborhood. Okay, it's a big deal to be invited or to invite yourself over into someone else's home. What else did Jesus do in this? It's one loaded, very, very loaded verse, isn't it? In the first century, if you went to someone's home, you are accepting an invitation to experience them in a way where you become one with them, in solidarity with them. There's a saying that was shared in the first century. It said, "You are who you eat with." So when you break bread together in someone's home, you're connecting in a special way where you're associating yourself with them. So Jesus very likely shared a meal with Zacchaeus. Why? Because he went to his house. That's what you did in the first century. Breaking bread together is a sacred act where you become one. God designed it that way. There's something about sharing a meal with someone else. You never forget it. So invite your neighbors over for a meal or a cup of coffee even. Sit on the porch. I've seen this in Vermont, and I love this. People just come and bring their coffee to someone else's front porch, and they sit on it and they talk. That's really special. Okay, so also there's gardeners in the house, I know, because they've dropped off things at my house. Hey, I grew this for you. What am I going to do with 200 zucchinis? Take the zucchini. Okay, so share vegetables from your garden, baked goods from your kitchen. Organize a backyard cookout, all right, or a campfire in your backyard. That's a fun thing to invite your neighbors to as well. Bring them over. Share a meal with them. Break bread together. Meet a neighbor for breakfast or lunch. Okay, I see that happening in our neighborhood as well. It's a beautiful thing when you break bread together. Again, we are already doing this as a church. We do this well as a church. Now I'm inviting you to follow in Jesus' footsteps and do these things in your neighborhood. Okay, so sharing a meal together is a beautiful, profound thing. Okay, so Jesus, he sees them. Jesus learns his name or knows his name. Jesus invites himself over. Jesus shares a meal with Zacchaeus. And now what? What else is he doing? He's offering friendship before he's demanding change. You're going to see in the rest of the story in a minute, Zacchaeus is going to change. He's going to change his ways. But it's because of the invitation to just be friends, that invites him to do that. So offer friendship before you offer judgment. Offer friendship before you're like, I'm going to get them to come to church. There's nothing about inviting them to come to church here in what I'm saying. I'm saying be a friend, be a good neighbor. Listen more than you talk. Again, you are the spotlight. You're not in the spotlight, you're shining the spotlight on other people. Don't treat your neighbors as church projects. It's the worst thing we've ever done as Christianity in America came to America. We turned it into a business. All right? We turned the church into a business. So no, this is not a marketing campaign. This is not a scheme with strings attached. Jesus says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So I would not be doing my job as your minister to help you ignore that. This is not a gimmick to grow a church. That's insane. This is an invitation to be the church where you live and where you work and where you play. Okay, so he offered friendship. So be present for your neighbors during difficult seasons without immediately offering solutions. I say this to my kids often. In life, there are real friends and there are deal friends. Deal friends are there when things are going well or when it's part of the deal where they can get something out of it. Real friends hang out with you through the low points and through the valleys. Okay, so be present during difficult seasons. Show your neighbor that, hey, they can have a real friend in their neighborhood. That's a gift that could save lives. So show up consistently, not just when you need something. Again, we're real friends, not deal friends. Okay? So, and then let trust grow naturally before you start discussing deeper matters of faith. Again, that's going to happen. You can't go through life long enough and get close enough with people for them to not hear your heart, to not talk about what is all this. That's a wonderful gift, these conversations that you can have, but there has to be a long road of trust building before those conversations take place. Okay? So don't start with hey, I go to this church, you should come with me. No, there's other things you can do first, like love your neighbor as you love yourself. Okay? So let's wrap up the Zacchaeus story here. I'm excited to see where this goes. Okay, so he says this. All who saw it began to grumble and said, he is gone to be the guest of one who is a sinner. Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, look, half of my possessions, Lord, I will give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much. That's a tell. That's letting you know how much he was actually ripping them off. He would charge 4 times what was owed, and he's paying him back. Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because because he too is a son of Abraham, for the Son of Man came to seek and save that which was lost. Salvation has come to this house because Jesus has come to this house. And I need you to understand just the profound impact you can have on those around you by allowing Jesus to shine through you where you live. You can change this neighborhood and this town for the better. You can save lives simply by walking with your eyes up, being intentional and prayerfully walking in your neighborhoods, meeting people's names and learning their names and loving them well, loving your neighbor as you love yourself. Okay, so that's it. That's neighboring. That's what it looks like. Again, Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we're going to dive in even more. I want to hear your stories of this. I want to hear your challenges of this. But one last thing before we open it up to questions. I just want to shout out some of the things I've seen in this church. I just want to say thank you thank you for being a great church. Thank you for, like, when you're baking things for the community meal at the end of the month. I see that. That's a beautiful thing you're doing. I just want to shout out a couple people by name too. Steve, thank you for inviting me to lunch a lot. I love it. It's a wonderful thing that you do. Doug and Sue, they might be watching this online. Thank you for opening up your porch when we first moved to town to have ice cream for the kids from the porch. That's an incredible thing. Thank you, Paul and Amanda, for having this thing called Friendsgiving, where they have their neighborhood come. Thank you, Carrie and Rochelle, for having porch breakfasts. They cook pancakes for the kids of their neighborhood from their front porch. There's amazing people already doing amazing things in the name of Jesus in our church, and I'm thankful. Thank you, Steve and Sharon, for praying for people by name. Thank you. So to all of you who come together to become the body of Christ, I see you do it already. I see you doing a wonderful job already. Now the challenge that God's laid on our heart as a church is to extend that to our neighborhoods. That's where Jesus is leading us. And he says, whatever you've done for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you've done it for me.